It's social distancing at the chamber. Happy hour with Hammer, the Thursday night edition. My name is Garrick Taylor. We are here, as always, joined by the CEO of the Arizona Chamber, Glenn Hammer. Glenn, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for letting me on.
It's another Thursday, which means it's another gubernatorial press conference. The governor busted out the PowerPoint slides again today, talked about rising COVID positive numbers, also talked about a letter that was released from the state's largest health systems about available bed capacity. Glenn, your thoughts?
Yeah, there's a couple things going on. We do have internet access in Arizona. We have great broadband, so we're very well aware what's going on nationally and even internationally. And the fact is, it is a story right now across the country and across the world that the cases are surging in Arizona. That's true. When I get, WhatsApp messages from several countries that I used to be able to visit, I know something is going on. It's same from friends and loved ones on the East Coast. What's important to note that in the last 26 or so hours, you've had major press conferences from our largest county by far, Maricopa County, and now the governor talking about this. So the first thing that I think is important for viewers to understand, people understand that there are increased cases. Now, a significant part of that is because we're testing a lot more people than we ever have. I think in the last 6 or 7 weeks, the testing overall is up by 500%. But there is more going on because the percentage of positive tests have gone up overall, and you don't want to see that.
Right.
But we'll get to the bottom line and then sort of peel this back. The bottom line is that our healthcare system is prepared. The Health System Alliance of Arizona, which represents about 80% of the hospital beds in the state, produced a letter earlier today saying that they're prepared. They have additional capacity for any sort of surge, and they're on the case. So, people should feel comfortable that if they need care for COVID-19 or any other ailment, they can go to their hospital, they can go to their healthcare system, and they will be treated. But that doesn't mean that that we're out of the woods with this deadly global pandemic that is very, very difficult to tame.
Glenn, the stay-at-home order was not extended, as you know. So let's, before we get into whether that was the right call, I just think it's important for us to remind viewers that when the stay-at-home order ended, it did not come with the big announcement to throw caution to the wind. State health officials have been reminding Arizonans to follow regular health protocols.
That's exactly right. And when the governor lifted the order, he said the green light was not a light. That did not say go speed. It was to proceed cautiously and to follow the CDC protocols. So what I think part of what's going on here, and I'm not an epidemiologist, but this is a composite sketch talking with people all over the state, including in Santa Cruz County, is that we opened at the right time, period. We were ready to open. There was good reasons for us to open at that period of time. We met all of the gating criteria easily. And we also, it's the health of our citizens, but it's also, we're human beings, and we want to figure out a way to re-enter society safely. So it was the right time. I'd argue part of what happened here, where we see a little bit of this, I think part of what's responsible for the surge is we opened responsibly while other states, neighboring states, kept the lid on. So a number of citizens who, of those other states, were the United States of America, decided to travel to Arizona. So I believe that's part of it. I think part of it is, we have graduations here earlier than most states. It's not the East Coast, so people start graduating. We had Mother's Day. We had Memorial Day. we had a lot of those types of celebratory activities going on. And, a lot of people hadn't seen each other in any way in quite some time. So I think that that's part of it. And what I believe is important between the Maricopa County press conference yesterday and Governor Ducey's press conference today is that it's a reminder this global pandemic is still raging all over the world. We, as citizens, as businesses, are going to need to be more vigilant. That's the message I got out of the last 25, 26 hours. And by the way, we mentioned the Health System Alliance letter. At both the press conference yesterday in Maricopa County, at a press conference the week before by the largest hospital system in the state, no one is saying to close. No one is saying that there was a mistake made in reopening. The common message is we need to be responsible, and that's the washing our hands. It's the physical, not social, physical distancing. It's where you can't physically distance. Wear a cloth covering, particularly if you're in a store or something like that. Sure. So we all have a role to play, and I commend Maricopa County. I commend the governor for having those messages, and we have a role to play, Garrick, as well. It's not like we're just going to be passive bystanders here, and if we all get back and are a little bit more vigilant, I believe you'll see the numbers get back into a situation where we'll all feel a lot more comfortable.
All right, let's talk masks then. Who was that masked man? You've applauded private businesses that make mask wearing standard or even required. Would you mandate it? A government mandate?
I would not do a government mandate. I believe that this is the West. Look, I feel some days I escape from New York. It's a very different mentality in the East, where the government overregulates and overmandates. I don't like it. But would I suggest it if I were governor? Yeah, I would, and that's what the governor did. Would I suggest it if I were the head honcho of the Maricopa County healthcare system? I would. Now, for businesses, private businesses that mandate it, that makes a lot of sense for a lot of businesses that are in closed quarters, not just to keep their customers safe, Garrick, but their employees. So I believe that that's a tool that businesses should use. I don't wear a mask for vanity. If I could get away with not wearing a mask, I don't wear it. When I do my 5 a.m. walk outside, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm also not getting within 6 feet of anyone. I have it in my pocket in case, there's something, a flash. Yeah, the people want to join me. They're aware they want to. So I don't think that this would be the right thing for there to be a government mandate on. Just the way I don't think you're going to have a government mandate on washing your hands. Wash your hands. Use the hand sanitizer. Try to, wherever possible, stay 6 feet from people. Don't go over 10 people congregations when possible. So it's the individual. I truly believe it's the individual responsibility. We've talked about this offline. I believe you can get a ticket if you don't wear a seatbelt. I wear a seatbelt when I drive, not because I'm scared of getting a ticket. I'm pretty sure I won't get a ticket. I wear a seatbelt because if I stop short or get hit, I don't want to be Parkway Pizza. That's why I wear a seatbelt. So I want people to think the same way about the mask. If you're in that type of environment where you're around people, it helps for their safety and yours. And my final point there is, what the tweet earlier today from Dr. Gottlieb, former Trump FDA commissioner. So we're talking a pretty conservative guy, resident scholar at AEI, put out an important tweet, and that's that the evidence on this has changed, where the evidence now is overwhelmingly in favor of wearing the mask. That was not the case 3 months ago. And in fact, there was a concern by some of the older research that it could cause some issues where people put their hands on their mouth. And, so the evidence has changed. And I would just urge those that are watching is to be humble and to also have, let's not all play the gotcha game. No one has all of the answers on this. As the evidence changes and we should change behaviors, let's do it. Let's not look back and say, hey, Glenn wasn't wearing a mask 3 months ago in crowded settings, so he should, we're never going to forgive him. I think that's the wrong way to approach this.
So we're going to be methodical. We're going to be responsible. We're going to wear masks, but we're not going to have a mandate. Now let's talk about the reopening. You mentioned that we had met the phase 1 gating criteria. You concerned about another stay-at-home order?
I'm not, and I believe that would be a big mistake. We need to figure out, and we have figured out, I should say this, we know the behaviors that are necessary so that we could keep the virus under control. Our economy has been gaining momentum. There's also a lot of, when you talk about stay-at-home orders, some of the things that were halted for a period of time were quote-unquote elective surgeries. Mm-hmm. I thought Maricopa County yesterday did a great job of explaining what elective surgeries are. Those are just surgeries and procedures you could postpone for over 24 hours. They're as serious as mastectomies. These are not elective. It's really the wrong word. These are just things that you could postpone for a period of time. So I don't want to go backwards, but I'll also say this is not the time until we see a considerable amount of progress to go from phase 1 to phase 2. So to me, this is the time to, okay, we've got an increased number of cases. Thank God there's been a tremendous amount of preparation, so our hospitals are prepared. But let's do everything that we can to see all of the metrics we want to see go in the other direction, go there. And I'm very confident we'll be able to achieve that.
All of us together doing the right thing. There's an element of being a good citizen in all of this, isn't there? You don't necessarily need the government to tell you to be a good citizen.
Garrick, that's exactly right. I mean, I'm not waiting around to hear from President Trump or any leader or anyone. We know what we need to do. And it'll I also just want to put an asterisk to that. It's going to still change a little bit over time as we get more information. Sure. But, our governmental leaders at all levels, in my opinion, have done a good job of explaining the types of activities that individuals and businesses should do to stay safe. As we've said, I like to say, I'm a sports guy, the ball's in our court.
Yep. All right. The governor had a press conference. Glenn, it feels like you just had to deliver a press conference.
Well, it may be too much already, but we're all trying. We're all trying to help and figure out the best way forward, and maybe that's the final point. Is let's get back to that point of working together, Republicans, Democrats, Independents. This is not a disease that targets anyone by any sort of political affiliation. We all have loved ones. We all have parents and grandparents who want to see. I'd personally like to see my parents in the flesh while they're still alive. So let's do everything we possibly can together to reduce the transmission of this disease. And we all know what it is without seeing a presidential, a governor, or a state health department deliver a press conference. But it's always useful when we're reminded. So I appreciate the governor and Maricopa County having very, very useful press conferences in the last 24, 25 hours.
Sure, fair enough. All right, that's the Thursday night edition in the can. Tune in Friday, tomorrow. We got a special guest. We will just tease that. We won't give it away yet. But Glenn, we'll see you tomorrow night.
Have a good night, Garrick. Thank you.